what's up everybody? Joshua Casper back at you with another Ableton Live video tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make dynamic vinyl static, which can be applied to anything. I'm going to be applying it to drums here and perhaps the lead later on, just to show you that it works in any context. But it's incredibly easy to do. I'm going to show you two methods. I'm going to show you one using an actual sample of some Vinyl Crackle, and the other one I'm going to be using the Ableton Live device, which is called Vinyl. And I think that's where we should start, because you don't need a MIDI track to get this done. You can do it with an audio track. So I'm going to do Control-T to add an audio track inside of Ableton Live here. And it's important to do it this way and not put these effects directly onto the channel you want to add the static to, for a number of different reasons. I'm not going to get into it. I'm a little bit tired today, but I still want to share this video tutorial with you. So just do it the way I'm doing it and be quiet. So anyway, there's a effect device called Vinyl Distortion. And there's one preset called Crack. So it just stays on. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off for a second because it's just steady, okay? It doesn't sound exactly like Vinyl Crackle, and that's why I kind of prefer the method using a sample, which I'm going to show you, relax. But this one will still work if you don't happen to have a vinyl sample or you don't want to go through the extra steps. And the big key thing here is the gate. So I'm going to take the gate and drop it after that. I'm going to turn the side chain on and put it to whatever I want to trigger the static. So let's say I want these drums, which are super clean, if I go ahead and solo them. I want them to sound like they were ripped from vinyl. So I need to add that vinyl sample. And the way to do that, the gate here, turn on the crackle, and you'll see that we're not getting any of that crackle, and that's because obviously it's soloed, right? So I'm going to solo this channel too. And you'll notice down here that I'm getting a little bit of crackle, and that's because of the floor parameter here. If I want to make sure it's completely off, just turn down the floor to, you know, infinity, and now you can see that that crackle is completely gone. But if I want to leave like a little bit always on, I can just turn the floor up and it's just going to let it leak through, even though when I play it, it's going to get triggered by the gate. All right, so what I want to do is turn down hold and pull up the release. You see how it's dynamically adding it to this drum loop? And the cool thing is I can change that drum loop. If I want to come into my samples here and just drop a different drum loop on there, like this one, for example, you'll see that it's adding it there. And that sounds really good, and that's it. That's all that you really need to do. You can, of course, affect the sound, the tonal quality of the crackle from this VST after the gate. You can put an EQ on there, you can put some stereo width on it, or make it mono, whatever you want to do, reverb, you know, anything can be put here after it. And it's really cool because you're only going to be processing the crackle and not the source of whatever is triggering the crackle. So you have full control over that vinyl crackle. So that's method one, using the vinyl, what's it called? I don't even know. Using the vinyl distortion device from Ableton Live. So if you don't have that, I'm not sure if it comes in the suite or the Live Lite or whatever. If you don't have that, you can just go online and type vinyl sample and you'll get a ton of stuff. So if I come into my samples, in fact, and let's just type in vinyl. And you'll see that I got a ton of different samples here with the name vinyl. So SFX, that's not gonna work. All right, so that one sounds really good. And this method's gonna use Simpler. So if I come into Instruments, and there's Simpler right there. Do I have a, But anyway, I'm just gonna take Simpler and drop it on its own channel. It doesn't work on an audio track because it's a MIDI device, a MIDI instrument. And I can just take this gate and drop it on there. Go ahead and delete the other one because it's just gonna happen. And now all of these settings are gonna be the same, but I'm gonna use that vinyl sample. So if I come back into my samples, okay, and take this one. And what I wanna do is find a place that sounds really good. So what I wanna do is loop this section, and I wanna bring it way over. And the other thing that we need to do here is trigger it with some MIDI. So if I right click, insert MIDI, and we don't want to pitch it up or down, so just use C3 is the normal position of anything before you transpose or set the root key. So C3 is what you're going to want to do for this sort of atonal mess here. And the longer we make the loop length here, the more variation we'll get in the actual crackle. So if maybe for every now and then I want this part to happen, I just got to make the loop length longer. So you can see that it's changing not only dynamically because of the trigger, but also just the length of this vinyl crackle. It changes over time. It's not repetitive by the least. When you're on a record, actually have a needle on a record, it's not repetitive. So, I mean, we can make it as long as we want. And again, like maybe it's a little bit too, it's got a little bit too much low end content. I can easily just come into my audio effects, come into, you know, my EQA or a auto filter and just roll off that low end that I don't like. And of course we can turn it down. And let's jump back into my samples here and just show in browser. And let's just choose the one I had before. Listen to how much better that sounds. It just sounds so good. And now listen to it in the context of the track and it's going to blow your mind. So like way down, pushed back in the background, it's just adding that extra bit of character and life to the drums. It's making them feel, I mean, it's already a pretty laid back track, but now it feels like I ripped these drums from a piece of vinyl, and that's super dope. Now, as I said before, now that this is set up, I can actually get the trigger from, let's get the trigger from this melody part. You know, let's vintagefy that. So I'm going to come in here, and instead of the drums, let's go to track 4 with the melody. Oh, I gotta solo it too. And again, the key here is to put it way down. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, some people who are into super clean sound, that's not going to do it for them. They're going to be like, why are you degrading the sound? But if you ever buy like a sample pack from these guys, Origin Sound, which I highly recommend, I do work with them. I get all of their packs, and they're just absolutely incredible. They make their sounds sound like they came from vinyl and other sampling techniques. And this is how they do it. They do stuff like this to make it sound like it was actually taken from vinyl when really it came from a super clean patch inside of a really great synthesizer. You know what I'm saying? So this technique might not be for everybody in every genre, but I wanted to share it with you anyway, just in case you were interested. Anyway, you know the deal. Like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you in the next video.